And I used to find it very fascinating that there's no forest in Delhi, no wildlife sanctuary, no national park in Delhi. How come we have highest number of wildlife cases in Delhi?
Wow.
So that was the story. I started talking about it. Media came to us. So Vishnu Shom, who was a young journalist at that time, he did a first interview of Sudhir Mishra when I was a law student doing a research in Tisajari. He said, how many cases are there? I said, more than 400 cases. And who is the main person? I said, there is a person called Sansachan, whose name repeatedly features in all the cases. And later we realized that he had conviction right up to Supreme Court, but he is still involved in many leopard or tiger skin cases. So my interest was there. While the IS interview results came against me, after even my medical examination, I didn't clear exam. But what it did, Sonali, is very interesting actually. What we need to understand is, and we can learn from environment in general, that resilience is the most important factor we need to have. And today I can say safely that resilience and perseverance and habits are something which you can't manufacture. So the public prosecutor and the defense counsel, both were against. And they both started abusing me. What are you doing? What authority you have? You are doing something which against human rights. It's his right to get a bail. So it became very nasty sometime. But later the judges started allowing that, okay, you want to assist the court, you assist independently.
Right.
And the long story is that after 4 years, I was representing roughly every NGO in this country. That was the starting point. So I became the person who will oppose bail application of poachers, traders. It was like Amitabh Bachchan in all those Janjeer and Diwar kind of movie, going and doing the most difficult job with a matador and with his bell bottoms. And he will go and say, Sona Vijay le aayega.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Voice of Mosaic. Let me begin by asking you all a question. Can we create a better world where humans coexist with the animals, the environment, and the planet? Well, it may require the 8 billion people, the all of us, to come together, join hands, but it can also begin with one positive action and one person. On that note, I want to introduce to you our guest today, Mr. Sudhir Mishra. He is India's leading media, broadcasting, and environment lawyer. Sudhirji is widely celebrated and admired for his extensive work in the protection of the wildlife, the wetlands, and our forests. Some decades back, when young, aspiring Indian lawyers were going for commercial litigation practice, Sudhirji made an unconventional choice to begin his career by practicing environment law. Sudhirji's story is a great inspiration to all the lawyers out there, as well as for you and me wanting to make a positive social impact on our community and our planet. Sudhirji, welcome to the show. It's a great honor to have you with us. And how are you doing?
Thank you, Sonali. It's a pleasure to speak on sustainability, speak for the tiger, speak for the wetlands. You said it very correctly. And Sonali, it's not some journeys right from your childhood, you know that what you want to become, where life will take you. And there are some journeys where you are put on those journeys.
Right.
And I'm part of the second story. And a lot of people who have told me that, how did you become an environmental lawyer? I think it was a great stroke of destiny that people normally get very focused when they are 15, 16, 18 or 20. I was somebody who was a destiny child. And I say it with a lot of conviction because it's a very dramatic story and a story which is beyond sustainability, beyond conventional norms. I was raised by my parents in a small villages of Bihar.
Okay.
And I'm born in 1970. And my first schools were where I had to carry my own bora for sitting in the basic school where my father was posted.
Right.
When the rains will come, we'll go home. And most of my schooling till class 12th was without actually any dress code or any conventional buildings.
Okay.
I studied in different villages in Bihar, part of Jharkhand also actually.
Okay.
And my 10th was very mediocre. I was 63% only I got. And I know a lot of younger students will see this podcast. A lot of myths I want to burst with regard to marks, schooling,
Right.
grades, and ambition. And this is also part of the process. If you see that when I finished my 12th, I did it with science, but my marks were not extraordinary. My father, during our time, it was very popular to become either an engineer or a doctor.
Yes.
I'm talking about 1988, 89, 70 born. So 1988 was perhaps the most difficult year of my life. And that generation maybe would be the last generation where you were not expressing anything to your parents.
Okay.
You were actually doing what your parents want you to
Yes.
do. So my father was very clear that either you clear the engineering exam or I'll send you on donation to some of the South Indian colleges. It was very popular to go to Bangalore or Mysore
Right.
and study engineering. I did none of it. I came to Delhi University. Somehow managed to get admission in Deshbandhu College, one of the last colleges.
Okay.
I took history honors. My teachers said that you'll not be able to cross the first year because your English is very bad. Your Hindi is also struggling.
Okay.
Why don't you take admission in BA Pass or Sanskrit? And so all the time, story till I would say graduation was of rejection, doubts, self-doubts, struggles, judgments, and a lot of inferiority complex, I will say that. Uh, in the final year of the college, I topped the college actually. And the
Wow.
teacher who was basically most helpful to me, who said that don't quit, don't go to BA Pass, was teaching in Cambridge at that time. He'd left Delhi University. Delhi University had the best graduation program.
Okay.
All the youngsters who are listening and who do their 12th from different places across the country, I'll tell them that there's a lot of myth about our educational system. We say schools are very good,
Yes.
but the colleges are not generally good. I come from Delhi University and I feel that my teachers were one of the most important influence in my life. And the teachers
And
used
the
to come
transition
home.
for you happened in college.
Exactly. And they used to come to our home.
Yes.
We were 4 of us actually.
Okay.
We used to sleep on the floor just 4 kilometers from this place. And we had pual, जो खेती में यूज करते हैं, बच जाता है रफेज, उसको जमीन पर बिछाते थे.
Oh.
उसके ऊपर पतला गद्दा और चद्दर, अपने कपड़े धोते थे, अपना बर्तन धोते थे, अपना खाना बनाते थे. घर से इतने पैसे आते थे कि you will be able to survive somehow with 2 meals. And all 4 of us had the same background. So one of them today is an Indian Foreign Service officer. He's the ambassador of Denmark in Copenhagen. One of them is the Chief Executive Officer of Anand Bajar Patrika, ABP News, Avinash Pandey. The ambassador is Mr. Manish Rohat.
Wow.
And one of them is a fashion designer
Okay.
who across the world, he does his fashion shows. His name is Rajesh Trivedi, and I'm the 4th person.
Wow.
None of them cleared what their parents wanted eventually. Like the person who went into Indian Foreign Service, his father wanted him to be an IS officer.
Yes.
But he never filled IS as a option, which is supposed to be the best career in this country. He didn't fill it also in 1996, 97. So it's an unusual story.
Yes,
And
it is.
and the other thing is, I also want to talk before we'll go to sustainability. I have lost my father in 2015, and then it started the personal crusade against air pollution, which I'll come later.
Okay.
But the best part is I wanted to do MA in history. And my father said over my dead body in 1992. And we didn't talk to each other for almost 30 days. My sister was getting married. And the entire house was like a tense place, like India-Pakistan border. My dad was not talking to me.
He wasn't happy.
He wasn't happy. He was sure I should only do law. So sometimes what happens, and I thought, why should I do law?
And you had no interest in
I had
law.
no interest because when it comes to law and legal fraternity, what I had seen in Gorakhpur, Banaras,
And
or
you're a
even in
first
Delhi,
generation
it was
lawyer.
not very
There's
inspirational
no
at that time.
Okay.
So I was very apprehensive about it. And my father prevailed upon me, and I finally took admission in Delhi University. While I was writing my civil services, I was interviewed for IS in 1998. I didn't clear it. It's in my podcasts. And I was 28 in 1998. I'm 70 born. And then I come to legal profession. And here is the story. The story is that when I was in my final year of Delhi University, when I was doing my law,
Right.
very good friend of mine who runs one of the country's best private university today, OP Jindal University, he got a Rhodes Scholarship and he was going to Harvard.
Okay.
And he made it sure that I take interest in Environmental Law Society of the Campus Law Center. So I said, why should I do it? He said, no, you should get involved. It's a very good society. Nobody talks about environment, and maybe it will give you some edge. If you don't clear IS, this is the field you should do. And I started organizing lectures of Menaka Gandhi and other people in Campus Law Center of Delhi University.
So, well,
That-
anyways, law was not the
No,
path you
and it
wanted
was
to
all
take.
default action, I
And
would
then
say.
later, environment law also. This
So
accidentally
if
happened.
law was not the choice or
Yes.
interest, environmental law was remotely not a choice or
Yes.
interest. Sometimes I say that what life chooses for you is something like Harivansh Rai Bachchan has said very aptly when Amitabh Bachchan was not succeeding in 7 movies in a row. 7 movies flopped after Saath Hindustani. So he was apparently talking to his father that now shall I come back and again search jobs in the mainstream corporate sector. He was earlier working in Calcutta before he started with Khwaja Ahmad Abbas in Saath Hindustani. So he said, sometime what is not happening is fine. What God thinks about you is better. So man ka ho to acha, man ka na ho to aur bhi acha. So in my case, that happened. I was interviewed for IS in 1998 in my 4th attempt.
Right.
And I didn't clear it. And then environmental law became a refuge because thanks to Professor Rajkumar, I was working with few NGOs in my final year. So what was the work I was given to? Go to the Tisajari, which is the Delhi district courts, and see in the wildlife court how many tiger skin cases are there. So as a law student, I used to go there and I used to compile those data. I didn't do any moot courts or any conventional internship like other lawyers who normally do. And I used to find it very fascinating that there's no forest in Delhi, no wildlife sanctuary, no national park in Delhi. How come we have highest number of wildlife cases in Delhi?
Wow.
So that was the story.
Yes.
So we started, then I started talking about it. Media came to us. So Vishnu Shom, who was a young journalist at that time, he did a first interview of Sudhir Mishra when I was a law student doing a research in Tisajari. He said, how many cases are there? I said, more than 400 cases. And who is the main person? I said, there is a person called Sansachan, whose name repeatedly features in all the cases. And later we realized that he had conviction right up to Supreme Court, but he is still involved in many leopard or tiger skin cases. So my interest was there. While the IS interview results came against me, after even my medical examination, I didn't clear exam. But what it did, Sonali, is very interesting actually. When you write civil service exams, another important point has to be made here.
Yes.
That UPSC rejects what they do in life, right? It's the biggest exam on this planet, I would say. 12 lakh people write. I was in last 1700. 900 were finally selected for IS, IPS, IFS, Indian Revenue Service. So if you have been in last 900 competing IITians,
Yes.
medical practitioners, MBAs, ISB, IIMs, and graduates,
Right.
and then you don't clear that exam, white point millimeter, it's like Milkha Singh losing the Olympics. So I had that confidence कि कोई बेकार तो नहीं जाएगा ये. I have come this far, 2300 marks examination. I am losing the exam by 6 marks.
Yes.
It's decimal. So that confidence became a bedrock for the future adventures.
Okay.
And some of the habits, so that's why I say that if you don't succeed in civil services, don't
Yes.
give up.
Yes.
Because what it does, it prepares you for hard work.
Yes.
And
The preparation is not going
exactly.
waste. It will
so,
come of use.
So Sonali, today also I read 7 newspapers. Because I used to read, my father said you have to read all the newspapers. I used to read as a 24-year-old.
Yes.
I'm still reading all the newspapers, business newspapers, and then the Business Standard, Economic Times, Mint is fundamental, and the Times of India, and Dainik Jagran.
Right.
So I read all of that.
Yes.
I don't know many people read. And that's the reason why when I write on all the leading platforms today, and just imagine, I'll keep on going on my stories, that I did a review for The Rude Life of Veer Sanghvi
Okay.
for Hindustan Times. And Veer Sanghvi is the most stylish writer in this country. He was the editor-in-chief of Hindustan Times. And he allowed me to review his book for Hindustan Times.
Wow.
So just imagine, the same person was told in 1990
Yes,
that
for
you
his
can't
English.
understand anything in English in this city. So the environmental law journey happened more by, and that's a dramatic thing. It's a filmy thing. When I finished my IS interview, didn't clear it, I went to 4 or 5 law firms which were existing. The legal sector was not open at that time in India. It was very primitive.
Yes.
4 or 5 law firms were there. And I went to all of them, and they almost looked at me and laughed and sent me back because they said, your marks are pathetic and you haven't done any internship. You don't know anybody. You are not from any family also. And my marks always came against me. And I realized that I was not inspiring enough confidence. So I didn't get a job. Maybe that was the biggest luck in my favor. I didn't get a job again. I didn't get a job in civil services. So I went to the NGOs for which I was doing the research in Tisajari. And you
So
know
was
what?
the recovery quick? After facing all this rejection, was it like immediate that you
No,
went?
I think that's a very good question, Sonali. I think what we need to understand is, and we can learn from the environment actually, environment in general, that resilience is the most important factor we need to have. And today I can say safely that resilience and perseverance and habits are something which you can't manufacture. If I show up every day, even today, and I'm so fired up, I'm 54 now, and anything which money can do today, anything, and I'm saying it with a lot of responsibility that handling money is like handling a nuclear reactor. And I'm saying for everybody, whatever money one is handling, how to live with money. That's an entirely different podcast we can do. I'm very at ease with money.
Yes.
I don't live with money, but I'm very detached with money also. But I still attract a lot of money. So it's a very different concept.
Yes.
It hardly is the reason why I show up every day. I'm so settled there. But my biggest motivation, I just don't know from where I find to come here on a day-to-day basis.
So you're saying you're not measuring your success with money.
No.
Yes.
So I would say all the doors were closed. And then I was just looking at a window, and that was the NGOs. And I went back to them. They said, yeah, we have a work for you. We were looking for somebody like you. We will not be able to pay you much. Naturally, NGOs can't pay you much. Can you go to Tisajari and oppose the bail applications of the poachers? So it's the next stage. First stage was you went there, did the research. I say, हाँ, क्योंकि I was not knowing anything. Ignorance is bliss. ना experience था, ना law में कुछ पता था. And I agreed to do that. That was the most difficult thing to attempt. It wasn't an easy thing to do. Because the moment you start opposing the bail application of a poacher, it is supposed to be a human right violation. It wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy.
Why it was not easy? Because, and that's why nobody did it before me. So the public prosecutor and the defense counsel, both were against me. And the both started abusing me. What are you doing? What authority you have? You're doing something which against human rights. It's his right to get a bail. So it became very nasty sometime, but later the judges started allowing that, okay, you want to assist the court, you assist independently.
Right.
And the long story is that after 4 years, I was representing roughly every NGO in this country. That was the starting point. So I became the person who will oppose bail application of poachers, traders. It was like Amitabh Bachchan in all those Janjeer and Diwar kind of movie, going and doing the most difficult job with a matador and with his bell bottoms. And he will go and say, Sona Vijay le aayega. But that was a tough job. So if he was doing, he was the Amitabh Bachchan then after that. So I was doing those kind of things. Then the public interest litigation started coming from the same NGOs.
Yes.
And the best part was, Sonali, that was the golden age for environmental judicial movement in India.
Okay.
So the courts, before that, the MC Mehta's legacy was saving the rivers, saving them from river pollution. So we had leather tanneries case where the leather tannery will not put all the spoiling stuff in the water in Ganga. But in my starting the practice on sustainability, the biggest focus was tiger conservation, biodiversity, wetlands, protection of national park,
you
wildlife
mentioned
sanctuaries.
the tigers, and I also recently read one of the articles published by you.
Right.
That last year we completed 50 years of the tiger conservation project. So I remember, sometime back, I probably would be in college, that just 1,411 tigers left was everywhere on newspapers and billboards.
Yeah.
How deep was your role there?
So my role is just like what I would say Gilhari's role would be there in Ramayana when she was telling Ramchandji at Rameshwaram that I am here to help you construct the bridge. I won't have a bigger role than that. But the story is that I have visited close to 100 national park wildlife sanctuaries in last 25 years. When the Sariska lost last of its tigers, now
Yes.
it is back with its tiger. I was part of that small group of people who were sent from India to United States
Okay.
by the US government under International Visitors Leadership Program,
Okay.
where 12 best forest officers were taken from Corbett Tiger Reserve, Ranthambore Tiger Reserve, Sariska Tiger Reserve, Manas Tiger Reserve, and they were sent to go and learn everything. They were all Indian Forest Service senior officers.
So you were there
parked
for
at-
training.
For getting an idea how do we together we'll create a model
Okay.
and how we'll save tigers after that. This happened in 2005. In fact, Ivy Fellowship was the turning point of my life. And I was told later Soli Sorabji had got that scholarship. Our Prime Minister is also part of the International Visitors Leadership Program.
Wow.
So that's the fellowship which changed my life. We were there for a month with these amazing officers. And we realized that park conservation has to change in a very different manner. And we created a very different module after that for most of the states. So the story is big.
So, but before this, there was never, anything to do with the protection of wildlife in India.
No, it was happening. We were doing, but that was the time when the whole country, it was like a watershed moment when the whole country suddenly started talking about that we lose all our tigers in
Yes.
2005.
Yes, and it's
So you
our
talked
national
about
animal.
50 years, but I'm taking you back just 20 years back. So in between, after 30 years, there was a huge, huge shock for India. Now, what happened in 1973? At that time, your tigers were going the cheetah way. We would have lost everything.
Yes.
But this is what I say, the resilience of this country, when people doubt about this country, and we have doubts about how we run as a democracy, elections, Godi media, and all this stuff. The resilience of this country is of a very different nature.
Okay.
You, in this country, you had a forest cover of 9% at the time of independence. And you had a 50 crore population. Today, you have 17% of forest cover.
Wow.
People think we have lost everything. No, we haven't. If you breathe well here, if the rains happens in the Tarai, it happens because the Pilibhit Tiger Reserve, the Corbett Tiger Reserve, the Rajaji Tiger Reserve, not even a tree can be felled there. A tree can be felled in the society in Delhi, and we are fighting those cases in Delhi High Court.
Yes.
You can't fell a tree in a national park or wildlife sanctuary anymore because the Supreme Court created a dedicated forest bench in 1999. And as a stroke of luck, Sonali,
Yes.
I started my practice in 1999, and the Supreme Court created this forest bench.
Wow.
So I was part of that forest bench all through. I was filing petitions, I was filing applications, I was part of expert committees of Ministry of Environment Forest, and that whole churn of 10, 15
Yes.
years changed everything in
Change
this country.
everything. You mentioned about tree felling, but I'll come to that later.
Yeah.
I'm going back to the question because I want to learn some personal experiences. You
Right.
have gone to the national parks.
Yeah.
You have been with the, the staff
Forest
there.
staff,
So up close, you have seen a lot. Anything you want to share?
So the forest staff is like the Indian Army. They need to be celebrated more.
Absolutely.
Like our country's army is perhaps one of the most professional armies in the world, people say. But do we realize the importance? How they save the Ladakh,
Do we
how they
celebrate
save
it
the
enough?
Siachen, how they work on the Indo-Pakistan border in desert in 54-degree temperature. We have a very professional army. Similarly, our forest staff is trained for hundreds of years. So the forest guard, the lowest denomination person is a forest guard. Then comes a forester. Then comes a ranger. Then comes a divisional forest officer. Then comes a conservator of forest. That chain is as good as army.
Wow.
So they care for the forest. If you will go to a Corbett National Park, and any one of you will go, you will see that if you're on a gypsy or a safari, they will not let you have a cold drink. They will not let you have plastic. They will not have you chips. They will not allow you to get down of the vehicle, talk to anybody. They will not allow your cell phone. They will say, please don't make noise. So who taught them all that? They are the real custodian, real protectors. You go to Africa, you go to America. When we were doing this fellowship in America, all these forest officers were so surprised that how America markets everything so amazingly well, like the Yellowstone National Park, Rocky Mountain National Park. We went to all these places.
Okay.
We only saw alligator. Well, we were so bored of seeing alligator, we used to say, alligator, see you later. Because there's no other wildlife. Even in Africa, you allow people to hunt.
Yes.
In India, you can't hunt anything. You just can't hunt anything. And we were the biggest hunters of the world.
Wow.
1972, when the
Yes.
Wildlife Protection Act came.
So you're very proud. You come
we
from a
are
place
extremely
absolutely.
proud that
Yes.
when I see that the tiger is an indicator species, it goes to, it protects your forest. Nobody pays a salary to the tiger. But tiger is the indicator species. A tribal, a local habitat, a community which is dependent on the forest
Yes.
respects the tiger.
Right.
And the tiger respects them. Nobody crosses each other's path. If a tiger marks a tree as its territory, the other tiger will not come in that area. So the soil is protected there,
Yeah.
the tree is protected,
The habitat
the
is
shrubs are
protected.
protected, the grasslands are protected, and you cannot do anything. And the rains happens, the clouds come. All of that because of the indicator species.
Any friendships developed,
A lot of friendships. So
especially with this project?
And I'm very shy about it because first I'll
Do you all
answer
sit
you
together,
directly.
look back?
Yeah,
how
I
much you
look
have-
back with a lot of awe, actually, a lot of
Yes.
admiration that I had gone to Brihat Rangachari Temple Sanctuary, BRT Sanctuary, and if you ever get a chance,
Okay.
please go there. It's near Mysore. And I had gone there when Virappan was alive.
Wow.
And he had just previously kidnapped few scientists. But we had to do this training program there. So I used to do training programs in the forest areas, train them how to nab a poacher, how to write the FIR, how to examine the witnesses, how to prepare the Naksha-e-Mauka, how to seize the entire thing, how to send it to lab. That whole chain
डर
was
नहीं
created.
लगा आपको?
कभी नहीं.
Family ने नहीं कभी
नहीं,
कुछ?
family में भी नहीं लगा because my children came very late. My wife was very supportive on that. But going to these national park in the night, going with in the forest jeep
Yes.
and seeing the footmarks, seeing the pug marks, listening to the jungle, understanding the whispers is something magical. So I have gone to some of the parks which I think that, like we go to Bangkok, we go to Dubai, we go to Abu Dhabi. We haven't gone to Manas. We haven't gone to Sundarban Tiger Reserve. Do you realize that going to Sundarban Tiger Reserve for anybody is so magical? You have to take a motorboat from a place called Sujne Khali.
Okay.
And you will drive for 5 hours in that motorboat. Then you reach to an island where you will be camping.
Right.
You will have good food and everything, no air conditioner. And while you go on the ghat, you have to go on a plank, walk on the plank. Tiger is not the real fear. Sharks are the bigger fear. The saltwater shark. So if they pounce on you, they take a flash of your body, you die in 3 seconds. So these are the things. So tiger is one worry. People think Sundarban man-eating tigers. So you put a mask on your back also when you walk there. You are in the enclosures and the tiger is in the water. And he swims there.
Yes.
I have those photographs. I haven't
And you've
seen
experienced all of this.
I have seen
the
tigers
fear,
in the
the
night,
adventure,
tigers
yeah.
walking in front of me for half an hour, and we are just waiting in our car, just letting him walk. And coming out of water, having with babies, whether it's Bandhavgarh, whether it's Kanha, whether it's Corbett, whether it's even Rajaji.
Right.
I have seen the elephants and the tigers. Elephants' sight is even more like you are completely in awe, and sometimes it becomes scary also. I was quite scared seeing elephants.
So much experience, in the forest, the wildlife, this is something which is so unique. There is hardly a population that will ever get a chance, as you're telling, to actually go there. Sudhirji, what did it do to you personally as a person? Like, what changed in you? What values you adopted? Because nature teaches, and it's a big lesson from there.
So
and this
Naren,
was fairly young in your career.
So I was very young when I started all of this, when I look back. But I was very old when I got a career. So at 29, my life starts, when normally people get employed at 23. But the best part is, by the time I went for the US fellowship in 2005,
Right.
I had constructed my first house. I was only working for environment, forest, wildlife across the country, across the country, in every Naxalite area, forest area, poachers, live threats, all kind of live threats. Actual threats of being shot outside the court also, couple of times, very close shave. But working with these amazing people, Valmik Thapar, looking at them, Belinda Wright, WWF, Ashok Kumar, the late Ashok Kumar, who started Traffic India to protect the tigers in this country. And that was the era you were young, you could run around, go in trains, go in bus, go to Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. I think God was so kind. Even at that time, I never used to think about money.
Yes.
I think I was making more money ethically protecting my flora and fauna,
Absolutely.
what I would have earned if I would have got a job in a big law firm as a partner even.
Yes.
So God was very kind. But the best part started, Sonali, that in 2009, when Trust Legal became an entity, today as a law firm, we are the largest media broadcasting firm. I'm a door tenant in United Kingdom.
Yes.
Now, forest, wildlife, biodiversity are the words which are fragmented words, Sonali.
Okay.
Now, the word which is up and I would say very fashionable is ESG, sustainability, planet,
Sustainability.
climate change. So whole graduation I saw, but the issues remain the same for me. So my
Yes.
emotional cord is attached to the National Park Wildlife Sanctuaries. And I never thought about it when I was leaving that area actively in 2010-11. But I keep on going back to the same theme. And when I see something happening to the water, if I see somebody crawling on a railing in Yamuna Bridge
Right.
and putting plastic stuff in the water,
Yes.
already a dead river, I really get very angry, stop my car and say, what are you doing?
Are you happy with what is going on with Yamuna River in terms of restoration of it?
No,
Or there are still great challenges there.
So that is one thing which I really want you to talk about, Sonali, that we had a huge parliamentary election for 45 days. And across the world, it is being now talked about that we are the fifth largest economy. The whole world is looking at you, and we
Yes.
ourselves give ourselves certificate of Vishwaguru. And we think we are the epitome of everything, service industry, manufacturing, largest swelling middle class, second highest billionaires in the world after America.
Yes.
Right? But what are we doing to our greenery? What are we doing to our sustainability? Is green politics even a norm in India? What has now become a cult in Europe?
Yes.
So your rivers are dead. And most of your rivers have become absolutely without any oxygen, without any flow. We have barrages after barrages. We are
Yes.
putting direct sewage into them. And the courts have come very heavy. Political parties have said, हम तो यमुना को बिल्कुल साफ कर देंगे,
Yes.
गंगा को बिल्कुल क्लीन कर देंगे. But Raj Kapoor made a movie in 1984, Ram Teri Ganga Maili. It remains Maili even now. And you know, it shocks me that we in the capital city, our capital city, Delhi,
Yes.
is being run in such a fashion where one particular party is running it in fragmented manner with all kind of issues happening around them. I don't want to be a political thing, but just imagine you don't know whom to blame for this.
Yes.
That even after 20 years of action on Yamuna is not flowing even in
And
Delhi.
who's there to take responsibility
And
of
your
it?
sewage capacity on affidavit before courts is under capacity. You're already exceeding that I don't have a capacity to treat my waste. So we have mountains of waste.
Is it
around
beyond
Delhi.
repair?
It is because that's not what a voter is
Yes.
asking. The day I will say, I want clean air, somebody will think about giving you clean air.
Yes.
It is not even an issue. We all want to chalta hai. Your property prices are going over the roof. Even if Gurgaon has no water,
Okay.
Gurgaon has water at 175 feet.
Yes.
Even then, your flats are being sold for 100 crores. For what? So what is the infrastructure we have? Nothing. And rapid urbanization, which India is advocating. There's a book of Thomas Friedman, Earth is Flat. I don't know why he's not writing enough. He said, why do we have to connect so much? Why do we need everything immediately?
Yes.
Why do we need these more roads, more highways? Where do we want to reach?
Yes.
He also questions that when people used to take 9 hours to reach Agra, or people used to take 1 week to reach Agra,
Okay.
it was not a civilization at that time. Why do you have to reach in 1 hour?
Yes.
So who will decide that what was happening for 5,000 years shouldn't happen now? Unless we put some brakes on this whole mad rush for development
Absolutely.
and rapid urbanization.
Yes.
For what?
What?
So what about the future generations, any right which will be left here?
Yes.
Everything is limited. Water is limited.
And that is what is the most concerning question.
Exactly.
That what are we leaving behind,
Exactly.
for our own children?
Right.
We're talking about urbanization, and it's increasing at such a pace, and causing environmental degradation, and maybe because of that, the tree felling. So, anything you want to elaborate on that?
So, it all depends upon individuals. So, you will see in a society who are the people who talk about environment.
Yes.
The older generation, which goes to the park,
Yes.
They want to sit in the park, they see that the tree is
Because
being
they've
felled.
seen a better
So they and the
world.
children.
Yes.
So children, because the schools have become the catalyst.
Yes,
That's why, Sonali,
absolutely.
the schools need to do their own Commonwealth. Schools need to do their own G20 for sustainability.
True.
Schools need to create their own World Economic Forum model
Yes.
for sustainability. School needs to do their own Congress. I have two children. They are twins, boy and girl,
Okay.
11-year-old. 12 in this November they'll be. For 4 years, they were talking with innocence when they were
Yes,
6, 7.
yes.
Now they talk with so much of sense. They talk more facts than me on sustainability.
They understand it better.
And they want to do
Yes.
it. But what choices we give them? When we live in a society where if we have to go to Mother Dairy also, we want to take a car there.
Yes.
Right? We say we don't want to use public transport here, but when we go to London, we all travel in the tube. Why this contradiction? Because there are a lot of feudal issues involved with that. We buy a car here,
Yes.
second-hand car. We go to Karol Bagh and fix plastic cover on that to show to the neighbor that I bought a new car. And we buy a new car and we don't take out the plastic covers for at least 1 year to make and terrorize
Very
everybody around
common.
us. Look, I bought a new car. So हम खुद को तो कुछ blame ही नहीं कर रहे. Then we are participating in elections. And we are not even asking for clean air.
Yes.
So Delhi remains the air pollution capital for almost a decade now. People have given up.
People have given up.
40% doctors are saying your lung disease, your heart disease,
Yes.
women is the worst sufferer.
And life
Nobody
continues.
cares.
Life
but
continues the
nobody is
way it
asking
was.
even.
Yes.
No politician is even suggesting also that I want to clean up Yamuna or I want to clean up Delhi air. Nobody is asking him. Nobody's demanding it. You demand. What do you demand? Free electricity.
Yes.
He gives to you. You demand clean water for drinking. He gives you. But you're not asking for clean air.
So
he's
nature
not
and
giving
environmental sustainability is not on our agenda.
No.
This is what you're saying. It's a
And
big
despite
mess.
our
Yes.
education, despite our swelling middle class, still we think that what Putin thinks that it's a hoax.
Yes.
The climate change is a hoax. I think as a nation, we think it's a hoax.
That's-
So on tree felling, Delhi High Court is seized with variety of matters, and I salute the younger judges there. And I'm saying it with a lot of responsibility, and I assume with my age now I can say like that the Supreme Court and other high courts, because they are the only last recourse left now,
Yes.
and the National Green Tribunal, which has gone order after order in the last 6 months on Yamuna. They have said we'll prosecute people. And they have really taken a lot of pain to describe that how river pollution is going to completely finish all these river basins.
Right.
So I would say on tree felling, the Delhi courts have come out very, very heavy against everybody who wants to fell trees near the ridge
Yes.
or in the RWA areas or in a colony. It's just as a symbol they are saying
Because
with
whether
48
it's
degree
in-
and 50 degree, you can't fell trees. पेड़ तो नहीं काट सकते आप. जो पेड़ है उसी के नीचे छाया में आप बैठते हो 2 डिग्री कम हो जाता है आपका.
बिल्कुल.
पेड़ तो आप नहीं काट सकते. उसकी कोई भी लॉजिक हो कि विल डू कंपनसेटरी एफोरेस्टेशन हियर देयर और वी हैव टू हैव दिस मॉन्यूमेंट दिस रोड और व्हाटएवर. आई थिंक वी नीड टू हैव अ फंडामेंटल क्लैरिटी. पेड़ नहीं काट सकते.
Absolutely. This is what you want. No matter what project is
Whatever,
coming,
design
what
something
building
around
is
it,
coming.
circumvent something, but nobody can convince me today that if I want to fell trees, there is a way to do it, like compensatory afforestation. So I will fell trees for going from here to Meerut for Sawan period. People want to walk and bring water for cover. You want to do it. But how it was being done for hundreds of years,
Yes.
please continue with that. Don't fell tree and say that I will do compensatory afforestation in some arid area, some wasteland. That won't work.
That won't work.
That won't work. Because in Delhi, we are facing that. You go to, just now, all of us can walk from here. Now, this lane will have a lesser temperature because we have more trees
More
in this
trees,
area.
yes.
Suddenly, if you go to
Absolutely,
main
you
road,
can
you'll
feel the
feel 2-3
difference,
degrees.
yes.
So this is our last refuse. Even air conditioners, I think we should have separate temples for air conditioners now because they are doing a great job. They are not collapsing in this heat.
Yes.
We can have temples for air conditioners.
Sudhirji, you briefly mentioned about, how the role of school children or, of the school and the leaders in the leadership in the school is important to drive sustainability. There's still a lot of work that is happening at school level, and children have the readiness for sustainability. They understand and approach it with absolute enthusiasm. How much have you connected with youth or students, and are you happy with, how they're going to drive sustainability forward? because there's a lot happening when we're connecting with environmentalists, and they're young environmentalists, they're young people coming and supporting, all these nature causes. So there is whatever is happening
Yeah.
is in the right
Sonali,
path.
in my time, I don't think schools were this good on sustainability. My generation, which went to schools 30 years back, I think in today's generation, it is very, very ideal situation for us. I have personal successes with the school children on sustainability. I'll give you one example. It's a very vital example, actually. So, this mongoose hair was being used for paint brushes.
Yes. Okay.
And the best paintings used to be done with the mongoose hair. I was not aware about it. So in 2006 or 7, I saw a movie by a eminent filmmaker, Fayaz, and it went for Green Oscars, where he had documented it that in Karnataka and few other states, mongoose are chased and killed. And mongoose नेवला बहुत शुभ माना जाता है. हम उसको वर्शिप करते हैं. अगर नेवला दिख जाए आपको रोड पे, आपको बिल्ली दिख जाती है तो आप रुक जाते हो रास्ता क्रॉस करने पर. नेवला अगर आपको दिख जाता है तो आपका भाग्य बदल जाता है. सो इट्स ए लकी एनिमल, उसको आप मार रहे हो. और वो शेड्यूल 3 में था वाइल्ड लाइफ प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट के. इट वाज नॉट दैट वेल प्रोटेक्टेड. ओके, आई सॉ दिस फिल्म and we showed it to many schools in Delhi.
Wow.
Delhi High Court got series of petitions from school children. I appeared for them. And lot of paint industries came against us. We made them party. Who used to make these paint brushes. And they all were in this Moradabad area, those brush companies were there. The Delhi High Court ensured that mongoose is promoted to the same protection which a tiger or elephant has.
Wow.
And they got the government had to amend the schedule, and mongoose got that protection. It's only because of the young students who went crazy about it. My biggest request today is, and I'm going to all the national law schools, I want to go to more schools, you can take me. I tell you, if we can address to 10th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th students, and we can just tell them that whatever you do, you become an engineer, doctor, lawyer, make sustainability your personal thing. So, like we are using this glass, we don't have plastic bottles. Like a straw which we use. I have seen younger students now. I have examples on a AI platform.
Right.
Younger students who order now from these e-commerce companies, they return the stuff if they feel it is overpackaged.
Yes.
So their sustainability mantras are better than my sustainability mantra. So I think schools can be the big churn. They can pressurize the political establishment that how sustainability has to be promoted. Some of the big ideas, like if I don't know, miss it. A big challenge is today, I'm keeping it 24 the temperature here, but normally I keep 25. Whether I'm here or US or Dubai or London, I keep my hotel's temperature 25. Most of the Europe, most of the Middle East, you will find the temperature is already around 23 or 24 degrees.
Yes.
You just you go to any hotel in India, whether you're going to Banaras, Gorakhpur, Patna, Delhi, the temperature will be 16 to 17 degrees.
Absolutely.
Why can't they just stop doing
and they're not
wastage
even
of this
aware
energy?
Of it, that,
no, nobody's telling them.
Nobody's
and we
telling
are terribly
them.
wasting our energy.
Absolutely.
So we have to do basic things first. That we
but it can all come through the schools.
Schools.
Because
so that children
the
now
students
know.
Are the first
so
ones
I think
to
my
adopt
children
it.
went for a stay somewhere and they said, no, but temperature has to be 25.
Yes.
So
I have personally learned a lot of things from my own children.
So small steps have to be taken on sustainability. Giant steps can't make a difference anymore. Small steps have to be taken. Like if people say, oh, even if we use the EV, what's the point? It comes from thermal. No problem. At least you do the signature program of this. Later we'll see about handling of the e-waste and others.
And I think this is what tells this tells us is that the more we talk about the problem, the more we are going to go towards a solution.
Right.
So a lot of people don't even know that this is a problem. For example, the AC is a very good example you told. Delhi is almost touching 50, and there are everywhere ACs running full speed, full capacity. So this is something that now people will know.
And some of the big successes, like we talked about mongoose, other big successes because the packaging industry had a big reverse for last 5 years in India. So I was working with a lot of companies which handle plastics or packaging. So good part of working on environment, they came to me, you tell us the solution. I said, look, and I'm not naming individually, but even the big law firms came with these big e-commerce companies. All these big e-commerce companies were being raided in 2019 for using over plastics or single-use plastic or not reducing plastic in packaging. Good thing the government did.
Yes.
But then came the pandemic. So pandemic came, I think the Prime Minister was very clear that he wants to get rid of plastic in this country. Small packets, big packets, medium packets. It would have been a miraculous thing to have happened. But then the pandemic came and we needed plastic bags to pack the bodies and other stuff. But still, in 2022, on 1st of July, they banned plastic. Now you go to any store, you won't find a plastic bag.
Yes.
You go into a sabji wala bhaiya, even he will not give you a plastic.
Refuse plastic.
Can you imagine a country like ours has managed to do it? Go to Europe, go to America, they all are using plastic like crazy.
Yes.
So these are the successes of this country.
Yes, and we should
if
celebrate
you can do this, if you can have non-conventional energy, which you committed to the COP, Dubai, Glasgow, and Egypt, that we will do this much by this much time, we are already contributing 29 to 30% of non-conventional energy or clean energy to the grid. We are surpassing all the targets. We have committed that we will not use fossil fuel and will be net zero, absolutely clean fuel by 2070.
So
We
you're
will not
saying
be able to pollute
that our
that much.
country is doing good in terms
We are
of
doing very
its
good, but we
commitment
have to do on a
sustainability.
many fronts. Like if I have my way, I will tell the schools to tell each corporate, which is a listed company, 1,000 companies of this country,
Yes.
each school, like we should have 1,000 schools writing to 1,000 companies, Sonali, that you will give us one example of responsible sustainability. 1,000 companies by 1,000 schools. We can make a project around it.
Absolutely.
You tell us one thing which you are doing for sustainability. Forget CSR, forget corporate environmental responsibility. Symbolism will not work.
Yes.
What is the real thing you are doing? Like Lal Bahadur Shastri did, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, that even in your backyard, start doing some cultivation and create some anaj.
Absolutely. So now the time has come from, just not
Direct
being
action.
aware from...
Direct action.
Yes, absolutely. On making
Direct
an action. Yeah.
You are not in an emergency
Yes.
anymore. You are in ICU. We are no longer in a climate emergency. We are in an ICU.
ICU.
If you see, the United Nations chief said 3 months back, 2 months back, we have just 1 year left to do something drastic. Drastic is, and you are talking about tree felling.
Yes.
Everything can wait. So I think 1,000 schools can pick up 1,000 listed companies, tie up with SEBI, all of us can work. Somebody will leave this, somebody will do this. One other idea is we are asking companies to make ESG reports. How much water you use.
Yes.
How much recycled water you use for sewage. What is your sewage systems? What is your women policy?
Yes.
If you do ESG, what is your women policy? Child labor. Because now you have to answer to the supply chain concerns of the Europe.
Absolutely.
You want to be the next Vietnam, next China, then you can't be like Bangladesh.
Yes.
Your supply chain has to be completely ESG compliant. How do you treat women? Do you discriminate?
Yes.
Do you take care of them? What are their working hours? All of that will be part of this ESG. And third, governance.
Yes.
Your anti-bribery policy, your corrupt practices. Are you following all the policy norms and everything properly? So ESG reports can be just 40-pager,
Yes.
where how you deal with water, how you recycle your swimming pool water, how your wash basin habits are there. So ये सारी चीज़ हम लिख सकते हैं उसमें. So we are making it for few universities,
Yes.
even schools can make.
Yes, in
And
schools.
that is how a culture of general sustainability will come. But one important fact is we are traditionally very recycled mentality people.
Yes.
Our dadi and nani used to
Traditionally,
have
India
those
is
dabbas.
very sustainable.
डालडा का डब्बा होता था, उसमें पहले डालडा आता था, फिर घी रखा जाता था, फिर बाद में नमकीन रखते थे, फिर गुजिया रखते थे.
So do you
देखते
see
नहीं
a
थे.
tomorrow where Delhi would have second-hand shops, where shops will have repurposed material from
Wow.
clothes to, appliances, so many things, because now we see the culture that, fast fashion, and not only in terms of clothes, even with, home items. So you use one and a new model is launched and then you go for the new one.
I think it won't happen in Delhi because we are very feudal in Delhi. और हमें दिखाना बहुत होता है. अब अगर हम उसमें नया पैकेट बना लेंगे तो फिर हम दिखा सकते हैं. वो हमारी प्रॉब्लम है दिल्ली.
So Delhiites don't care as much for sustainability?
No, they don't care for sustainability. If they will care about sustainability, naturally the first step will be, why will we be so proud of the fact that compare all the 3 other metros, we have more cars than them?
Yes.
This distinction was there in 1989 also, it stays with the same. We are so proud about the fact.
Yes.
We have the biggest SUVs you can imagine. We are the real America. The Delhi is the real America. America, everybody has SUV, everybody
So
has
we
a
are a
boat.
bad example.
We are
on
a bad example.
sustainability.
We have converted to sustainability in Delhi. You're breathing little better in this year. The reasons are very different. You will laugh about it. Sonali, what has happened
Better.
is that the two-wheeler population was the biggest culprit in Delhi for air pollution.
Yes.
They had a big share. Nobody used to talk about it. It was a
Okay.
taboo topic. Because voting population है, important voting
बिल्कुल.
population है. उनको free आप बिजली दे रहे हो, free पानी दे रहे हो. What happened? They realized they can't afford 150 rupees petrol every day. So they all shifted to electric scooters. But that is an action which has happened because it suited them.
Yes.
But that helped the Delhi air a lot. And if this parali happens and other stuff happens, it becomes very difficult to breathe.
Yeah.
Otherwise, 30% of the pollution is lesser today in Delhi because of the shift to electric mobility, which is very cost effective for people. So that these are the good examples actually.
Yes.
That if you do the e-revolution, the e-rickshaws, they are very good things for the country. Even if they congest you sometime, we should not bother about it.
I'm a little surprised because you are very fond of Delhi. There is a lot of mention of Delhi, the
I'm
food
writing
and
a
its
book
culture.
on the Delhi air pollution. I don't know how to make them realize that, boss, unless you tell the government, but you also look inward, how much you
Yes.
care about it.
Yes.
Do you switch off your AC on the red lights? You don't do that.
This is not a good news for
This is
Delhiites.
not- this is not a
This
good
is
news.
something
Yeah.
for them to,
Yes.
Okay.
But it's not bothering them. If they can, it had bothered to them so much that for Nirbhaya, we all had gone to India Gate and had lighted the Mombatti. We are breathless for almost 8-10 years. We are the air pollution capital of the world. We have the highest cancer incidents happening for the lung in the whole country. And we are not bothered and we don't react to it. We are in denial. So it is something which speaks about the city.
Thank you, Sudhirji. It was lovely, all the journeys that you've taken us through your own, and how much India has worked towards sustainability, which is something, as you say, is a lot to celebrate, and you're yourself very proud of. On a parting note, any message that you want to give, to the youth or to the citizens of India on what more needs to be done on sustainability?
I think, Sonali, I want to give a message to the promoters of the schools that there is a business opportunity, there is futuristic opportunity,
Right.
and there is a huge opportunity to be sustainable for them. The two areas are there. One is that we reach out in an organized manner to national park and wildlife sanctuaries.
Yes.
We should take them to NASA, which has become very fashionable, to Olympiads. I keep on hearing about these things in my children's thing. We must take them to a tiger reserve or a national park. If they interface with nature, they will reclaim it. They will ensure nobody will take it away from them.
Yes. And you know what? The best solutions are going to come from them, from
there,
these students.
From this. And the second is telling the corporate through the students that you are making so much of money. We have these corporates who will be holding so many examples for wealth and weddings and all these things which is happening in our society. We can ask them to be responsible in one area of sustainability. There are SDG goals. There are many areas. We can decide on one area.
There are 17 SDGs, and not everybody needs to be aligned with
Just
all 17.
one. Just do one.
Like we work very closely with one school in Gorakhpur, and they have identified 3 goals, and it is just as basic as saving food, energy, and water.
Right.
And so every student of the school and from the school, their own home, their household, and then the immediate society is aware on these 3 SDG goals. It's just as basic as, what action can we all take to responsibly consume food, energy, and water.
So I would say that students are the future.
Yes, students are the future.
I have become very, very active on that space, that whether it's law students or the school students, I'm very happy to interact with them and tell them, reclaim your nature.
Yes, reclaim your nature. On that note, Sudhirji, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure talking
Sonali.
to you.
Thanks a lot. Bye.